Hey guys, and welcome to the Introduction to Carrier Operations video. And in this one, we'll just be demonstrating Carrier Quals 1. So there's three basic cases: Case 1, Case 2, and Case 3 recoveries around the carrier. Case 1 means it's good visibility, pretty much 1,000 feet or above cloud layer and more than 5 miles visibility. So just think clear, sunny day. Case 2 is usually dusk or night operations, Case 2 is night operations, and I think maybe a little bit of cloud cover and some lower visibility. But Case 3 is night operations, so any night operations, and less than 1,000 or less ceiling, and 5 miles or less visibility. So the way you remember that is, Case 1, just think, daytime. Case 2, dusk. Case 3 is the visibility gets lower and lower. Case 2 is a little bit lower visibility. Case 3 is very low visibility, nighttime, or less than 1,000 feet ceiling and 5 miles visibility. All right, so what we'll do is 4 carrier qualifications. CQ1 is during the daytime. CQ2 is dusk. CQ3 is daytime with kind of a cloud cover and low visibility, and then CQ4 is going to be nighttime with cloud cover, so 1,000 feet or less than 5 miles visibility. And those are the 4 carrier qualifications. So what we'll do, the first thing in the BMS training manual, there is a list of TACAN and frequencies. So we're here on the CVN 65, which is the USS Enterprise, and we'll hit 1 on the data pad here, and we'll set our TACAN to 27, which is the TACAN for the Enterprise, and then we'll set our COM1 UHF to 227.50. Alright, so let's call the tower. I'm going to get the chocks off. I'll tell them I'm ready for takeoff. So the way we do carrier operations, I use a side number. You can see my side number is 400 right there. And for our purposes, I'll be 401. And just your number in the flight. If you're 2, you'll be 402. If you're 3, you'll be 403, etc. Now that's just kind of a novelty thing. In reality, in combat operations, ATC is going to call you by your flight call sign. Usually that's going to be Hornet, 1, Hornet 2, Hornet 5, whatever the case may be. So when we do carrier qualifications, we're going to be using our side number. When we're actually in combat theater, we're just going to be using the call sign more than likely, because ATC is not going to call you by your side number whatsoever. Alright, so I will call, there's a sub coming across our stern there. And there's another sub over there. I'm going to go ahead and call the tower. 401, ready to taxi. Cat 1. And Cat 1 is going to be that far carrier to the right, and then Cat 2 is that one. Cat 3 is this one here, and then Cat 4 is that one. It's kind of that angled one. Cat 2 has a little bit of issues. Usually flight lead wants to be on Cat 1 because that's the one that actually works.
Hornet 1-1, you're cleared for takeoff.
Roger 1, cleared for takeoff. So what we'll do is taxi up. Of course you want nose wheel steering on.
Hornet 1-1, expedite departure.
And while we're here, I'll actually show you the instrument handling system, which is the iPhones here. And it's this big rack of lights on the side here. And that's going to tell us our glide slope. We'll come back to that on final approach. So let's just taxi to Cat 1. The iFalls is commonly referred to
taxi
as the ball. And so when you hear carrier pilots, call the ball, they're just saying that they have visual on the iFalls system, which is back there. It's kind of like a PAPI or a VASI system. And what I'll do is taxi over here to Cat 1. Now, if you don't have clearance for takeoff, you're not going to get a good cat. In other words,
Hornet 1-1. Is there a problem?
if you just try to come over to Cat 1 without takeoff clearance, that blast deflector is not going to go up, and you're not going to actually get hooked into the camera. So once you come to a stop, if you notice there on the nose gear, the actual launch bar came down, and I'm hooked into the cat at this point. I'm a little bit angled. I should be straight, but I just didn't get a good straight path on here. So you do want that flight path marker to be right straight with the cat. Either way, it'll launch you. So once we're here, we're going to go ahead and extend the wings, and you can watch for that. And then what we're looking for is we're going to go up to about 90%, or you can go mil if you want, but I usually go 90% just to avoid going into after.
Hornet 1-1. Is there a problem?
Alright, let me turn down columns a little bit here. Alright, so there's 90%. And usually right now is where you do your flight controls check. Usually we have yellow shirts on the deck in real life that are going to direct the aircraft to the launch bar and make sure the launch bar is all good. And they're also going to check out your control surfaces. But since you can't do that, I highly suggest you use the 0 key and take a look at your aircraft. So we'll go to elevator forward. It's on the elevator. It's the back, right, left, right, left rudder, right rudder, and make sure all the flight controls are working. So once your flight controls are good, usually you'll have the FCLS up, which we actually is, as far as I know, not operational. You would actually check the movement of the control surface on the FCLS, but we don't have that, so you have to go external and check that. And then once you have good flight controls, if you go into afterburner, that essentially is telling the cat that you're ready to launch. So what you want to do is check good engines, good highs and good lows, which are the good temps and good fuel flow, and make sure those are within ranges. And then once you go into afterburner, it's going to launch you. Let's select nose wheel steering off. You want a good pull on the stick here as you take off. In the F-18 E and F, I believe you just go full back and the computer will calculate the best angle of attack for takeoff. And you can do that in BMS in the legacy, even though that's not the proper procedure. I don't think in the legacy. Usually when I start I'll go back on it.
Hornet 1-1. What is your problem? You are disrupting traffic.
Alright, so no lights, good engines, good highs, good lows. And then we'll go afterburner. So this is going to be your hand salute signal that you're ready to go, and it'll go ahead and launch us. So there's the launch. As soon as we take off, we're going to go right 10 degrees. Come out of afterburner, and we're going to go Control K to get the hook down. And then we'll turn left to our into the path. Alright, so we want to be at 600 feet. And it's just kind of one continuous turn around the carrier. You really want to be, 220, 230, just to keep some good separation. But as you get on as you get a beam to the carrier, you want to start getting that donut.
2, airborne.
And then we'll also request landing. We'll do an autonomous landing here.
Good afternoon, Hornet 1. Welcome back.
Once we're a beam, I'll call call on the radio. 401 a beam, hook down, 3 down in green. That means that your gear is down. And there's the donut. So I'm on angle of attack, and I'm within that E bracket there.
Hornet 1-2, turn right heading 335.
And you be aggressive on the throttle. Don't hesitate on it. So once I'm past the beam here, I'm going to start my turn. You can really start your turn right at a beam, because remember the ship is moving away from me.
4, airborne.
And the idea on carrier operations is to use the least amount of fuel as possible. Once we're coming around the bow here, at the 90 is going to be halfway on base, so right about here, 401 at the 90. And that's just letting everybody in the traffic pattern know that you are halfway on base.
Good
And
afternoon, Hornet.
you intend on
clear for
landing.
landing. Jet gear down.
And then we're going to keep shooting our approach. The ship is actually moving to the right always because the runway is angled 14 degrees to the left. So if you don't angle right, you are, if I go straight for the runway, the ship's gonna continuously go right on me. So you're always aiming to the right of the boat. All right. So as you start, there's a little burble from the tower there. That's wind coming off the tower there.
Hornet 13.
And then
Head to 4000.
let me pause it
Maintain
here for 1 sec.
250 knots. Turn right heading 010.
I'm going to turn off UHF for a sec just so you can hear. So here is the final approach to the carrier. You can see I'm on speed 160 and I'm really looking for that donut, which corresponds to this E bracket like we talked about earlier. All right. And the TACAN, if I hit I should have done this on the deck, but if I hit I a few times, I get TACAN mode, or you can click on this and you'll get TACAN. TACAN is going to point to the actual carrier. And actually, it should be 21, 27 there. For some reason, it's not picking it up. Maybe it's 28. I think it is 28 actually. There it goes. All right. So the TACAN does work on here, and the final call is about 1 mile, or actually 3/4 of a mile away from the boat. And what you're going to call is 401 Hornet ball. Hornet is the type of aircraft, so if you're a Super Hornet, you'd say Super Hornet. If you're a Prowler, you'd say Prowler, whatever the case may be. So 401 Hornet ball. That means I have sight of the optical landing system, and there it is right there. You see that little ball there? It tells you if you are high or low on the glide slope. If it's centered, it means you're perfect on the glide slope. If it's low, it means that you are low. Obviously, if it's high, it means that you're high. So what real pilots do is that they actually fly. They don't look at the deck. It's called sighting the deck or looking at the deck, because that creates problems. And landing signal officers will know when you do that, because you'll usually go low on the wires and get very close to a ramp strike, which is down here is the ramp. But what you want to do is actually eyeball that. Now, it's hard to see in BMS, so for practical reasons, typically your flight path marker will go in this little quadrant right here. And if you keep it there, you should hit, either a 3 or 2 wire or so. So let's continue the approach. And I've made my final call. A little bit wobbly here. And full power as you come over the ramp. Alright, you can see I bolted on that one. And that's just, I'm pausing the sim as I'm trying to do this.
4 in position.
We'll go around for another approach here. 401, a beam hooked down through green. Alright, so just past the beam, I'm going to start making my turn here. And just make sure you're on speed, getting that green donut. And keep working the throttles. Typically, it's going to be a semi-level turn. You want to be 450 feet as you come on final, but really you're almost doing it more like more on feel. It's just a reference point. So 600 feet in the pattern. 401 at the 90. I'll keep turning here. So it's final approach, still staying on speed. Keep your track hour really helps with this because you can actually see the carrier. And then again, I'm aiming towards the right of the ship. I'm not actually heading directly towards the ship. If you zoom out a little bit, it's actually better than kind of like zooming all the way in. Right about here, I'm about a mile. You can see on the tack end there, it's 1 mile. 401, Hornet ball, state 6.4. Now that 6.4 call is my fuel state. You can see down there, that's 6,400 pounds. And the reason you do that is you know, the carrier and yourself, you always want to be aware of your current fuel state. Alright, so keep aiming to the right. This will be a much better approach, and I should hit the wires on this. As you come over the deck, you want to go full power. Have a little bit of turbulence on that one. 401, beam, hook down, 3 green. 401 at the 90. Alright, so still turning, good speed. And we'll roll out on final here. Still about 2 miles. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I can see it. And there's an aircraft on the deck there. 6.2. 401 Hornet ball. 6.2. Alright, a little fast. And be aggressive on the throttle. You know, if you get slow or low, don't hesitate to bring power in. Over the ramp, go full mill. And once you get down, you want to go ahead and fold your wings, go nose wheel steering on, and get off the deck. And usually, because we don't have ATC call on the flight deck clear, we'll just say 401 clear, or flight deck clear, whatever the case may be. Alright, once you get to this point, the AI will go to this little ramp area, and they should disappear after a while. And you want to get your hookup as soon as you get off the flight deck there. So once you're in this position, you want to request taxi again. 401, request taxi cat 1. And actually, I'm ready to go on here.
Hornet 1-1, position and hold.
So even if he says position and hold,
1-1, you're cleared for takeoff.
go ahead and taxi on.
Hornet 1-4, climb to 3,000.
And once he gets the hands for takeoff, you're good to go. Once you feel that nose go down and kind of catch, verify with this, you know that you're hooked in. And get the wings down again. You're ready to go again. Alright, so that's pretty much all the calls we're going to make around the carrier. And we'll continue with CQ2. Alright guys, welcome to CQ2. So in this one, pretty much the same thing. We're going to set up for the cat launch, and for the most part it'll be a visual kind of thing. It's up to you whether you want to use cockpit lighting or if you just want to go night vision. So I like to usually just use flood lighting, and you can also you know, go night vision if you want to do that. There's really no requirement on that. You also are not required to use your landing light, even though the AI will have, you know, theirs on. Alright, so we're just gonna taxi up here to Cat 1 again. She just cleared me for takeoff.
1-3, taxi.
And again, just remember, if you don't have that takeoff clearance, this cat's not gonna work. 401, ready Cat 1. Alright, so I know I'm locked in there. And this is going to be the same exact thing. Usually in night approaches, you're going to have an ILS approach, but in BMS we actually don't have ILS on the boat. So if any BMS devs are looking at this, I know that it would be kind of mated to the catapults. So the ILS wouldn't be, you know, actually taking you to the runway. They would rather be, you know, taking you towards the catapult, which is considered the runway. This is kind of an airfield, the way it's coded. But even if we were directed towards the catapults, that's kind of the bearing that you fly in a final approach anyways, because you're trying to defeat that constant, right motion, that right motion of the runway, or left motion of the runway, I should say. So you're always flying right on the carrier anyway, and it would actually work out if we had ILS implemented. All right, so I'm going to go 90. Forward, back, left, right, left, right. All right, and I'll go full burner. And right degree, or right 10 degrees.
Resume on navigation.
As soon as you take off, you're going to go Control K to get the hook down, and then I'll call the tower and request an autonomous approach.
Good evening, Hornet 1. Welcome back.
So again, it's personal preference if you want to use night vision. It's certainly they do use night vision in real operations. And again, since we don't have an ILS, we're just gonna go visual on
Hornet
this.
1-3, cleared for departure.
401 a beam, hook down, 3 green.
Hornet 1-3.
And probably the best kind of
Hornet 1-4, resume on navigation.
for visual acuity is probably going to be night vision with the floodlights off and the console instrument lights off as well. See, it's pretty dark here. So we'll keep coming. Final 401 at the 90. And there's my wingman coming across my nose there. Be aggressive on the throttle if you get slow. So, don't finesse it. You want to be really aggressive on that throttle. Give it power if you need it. It's not like air-to-air refueling where you're trying to really milk the throttle or walk the throttle.
Good evening, Hornet 1-1, cleared for landing. Check gear down.
401 cleared for landing. 3 down and green. Alright, so as we get to final approach here, usually around this point you should have the ball in sight, so I'll call final. 401 Hornet ball, state 11.8. Probably a little too heavy for carrier operations here, but that's okay. And then I'm just gonna eyeball the deck. Keep moving right towards the as we get over the ramp, go full mill. And get the hook up as soon as you touch down. Turn the landing light off. You can see how it blinds you with the night vision. And we'll get the nose of steering. Now you don't have to put the wings up necessarily, because there's not like really parked aircraft and things like that. And then we'll just taxi over to Cat 1. So I'll go ahead and request taxi. 401 request taxi Cat 1.
Hornet 1-1, position and hold. Hornet 1-1, you are cleared for takeoff.
And then you're ready to do it again. I'm going to go full back on the elevator here. And it's not a problem at all. So hook down.
Hornet 1-1, resume on navigation.
And make your left turn towards stay in the pattern. And that's all there is to it, guys. Alright guys, so welcome to CQ3. You can see it's daytime operations, and the cloud cover is at about 1,000 feet and 5 miles visibility. So right at the edge of the CQ3. It can go definitely lower than that, but so we're just going to taxi out to Cat 1. And the main difference in these bad weather operations is that we're actually going to use ATC vectors, and we're going to go gear up.
Hornet 1-2, taxi.
we're going to go gear up as soon as we take off, so we're not going to do like a standard pattern because visibility is obviously really, really low. And I'll taxi up to the cat here.
Takeoff. Hornet 1-3, taxi.
401 clear for takeoff. Alright, so a good idea while you're here is to go ahead and set your course to the heading of the ship, which will be just straight forward. And then well, you can see we're actually turning here, but sometimes the carriers do that. They just, you know, they're supposed to turn into the wind, but we'll do a wind check here real quick. 401 wind check.
Hornet 1-1, 180 at 19 knots.
Alright, so supposedly we're supposed to turn into the wind at 180. And let's assume we're going to do that. And then it'll be 14 degrees. So, you know, south is 180, so subtract 14, it's going to be 10. And then 166 is going to be your landing heading. So that's good to know. 14 degrees from the course of the ship is going to be the landing runway. And there we go, we stopped turning. Looks like it's just going to be southbound. And be advised, anytime somebody calls for landing clearance, the carrier tries to turn to the wind. So if everybody's calling the carrier to land, it's always going to be shifting course. So it's good for the flight lead to do it once, and then everybody else can just follow one trail. Alright, so let's get going here. Good engines, no lights. And we're going to go gear up.
Resume on navigation.
As soon as you take off, we're going to request landing. 401 inbound for landing.
Hornet, climb to 4,000, maintain 270 knots, turn right heading 270.
Right to 270, 270
Hornet
knots up to
1-1,
4,000.
maintain 250 knots, turn right heading 325, vectors to right base.
Right to 325, Hornet 1-1.
Hornet 1-3, you are cleared for takeoff.
And you can see I'm using just my flight call sign.
Hornet 1-2, resume on navigation.
I'm going to disable that wind correction real quick. So, I'll actually miss my altitude there. There's 270.
Altitude.
And I'm going to come back down to
Hornet
4,000.
1-1, turn right heading 345.
Right to
Hornet
345.
1-3, resume on navigation.
And somehow my weather didn't catch for this one. It's supposed to be 1,000-foot ceiling. And for some reason it reset higher than that. I'm not sure why. The weather's kind of funky sometimes in BMS. But you should be over the clouds at this point.
Hornet 1-4, resume on navigation.
Right to 360, Hornet 1-1. So all we're going to do is follow ATC vectors all the way back to the landing. And I guess it's good that it's good visibility right now because I can show you what that looks like.
Descend to 3,000.
Down to 3,000, Hornet 1-1. So she'll direct you to final. All you got to do is maintain the speed that she gives you, as well as the altitude calls. And then when we turn right on final, we're basically going to maintain a 700 foot per minute descent rate on the heading that she gives us, and we should see the carrier.
Hornet 1-1, descend to 2,000, maintain 230 knots.
Altitude. Altitude.
0, vectors to final.
Down to 2,000, Hornet 1-1. No, I couldn't hear the heading because of that altitude alert. But she'll probably correct me in a second here. I think she gave me. She'll basically. I think she gives you kind of a box pattern. But
Hornet 1-1, turn right heading 130.
Right to 130, Hornet 1-1. She's gonna kind of direct you on a right pattern around the carrier. And
Hornet 1-1, turn right heading 130.
right to 130, Hornet 1-1. And just keep in mind your TACAN is working, so that little arrow right there is going to point towards your ship, and we're 9 miles away.
Hornet 11, maintain 300 knots, turn left heading 125, vectors to final.
Left to 125, Hornet 1. So, you'd be doing this in the clouds, and just keep following the vectors. She'll get
Hornet
you on final.
11, turn right to final approach course 170, check speed.
Right to final approach 170. So usually when she tells me right to final, I'm going to extend gear once I'm below 250 knots. And I'll also put the hook down as well. So you want to be aware and listen for that final call. And we can see the carrier right in front of us. What you want to do is get your flight path marker on that dashed line, which is the 2.5 degree mark, and that's going to give you about 700 feet per minute. You need to confirm gear down and hook down. Alright, so even if you're in the clouds, let's say we're in the clouds right now at 1,600, you just keep descending at that 700 foot per minute mark, and you'll break out of the clouds at about 600 feet. There's 4 miles. And if you're at 3 miles and you just want to get down to 600 feet, you can absolutely do that and just kind of level out. And
Good afternoon, Hornet 11, cleared for landing. Check gear down.
Hornet 11, 3 down green. So there's 600, and if I want to just kind of level out here, I can do that, and you'll break through the clouds at this point. Just keep heading towards the carrier. There's 2 miles, according to the TACAN. (401) Hornet ball, 6.8. And a little bit of turbulence behind the ship. There's something called a burble, which is wind. Since the ship is moving forward, there's wind coming off that tower, and when it comes over the top, it starts to create turbulence and circulate, and so you'll have to fight through that. I think that's what we're experiencing there, or it could just be random turbulence, but either way, it's pretty cool because it happens on real approaches. And then there's the ball. I'm a little bit low. I'm going to keep controlling it with my power here. And over the ramp, I'm going to give it full power.
Hornet 13, inbound for landing.
And get on the brakes
14, inbound for landing.
as soon as you get down. So we'll go
Hornet
hook
12,
up
inbound for landing.
and get the nose wheel steering on. And you can retract the wings if you need to. You want to clear the deck as soon as possible. 401 clear. And get back on the catapult for number 2. So again, CQ3,
Hornet 13, climb to 4,000, maintain 2.
the difference between CQ1 and CQ2, CQ1 and 2 are going to be visual for the most part because it's dusk and daytime. And then CQ3 and 4 are going to be daytime with the cloud cover, and then nighttime with the cloud cover as well. So we'll use ATC vectors. Alright, see you guys on CQ4. Alright guys, and welcome to CQ4. This is the hardest of all of the carrier qualifications, and it's nighttime, as well as we have a 1,000-foot cloud cover and about 5 miles visibility as well. So it's by far the most challenging. We are going to be using ATC vectors in this, and it's up to you whether you want to use night vision with the lights off, or if you want to
Hornet 12, taxi.
or if you want to use console lighting with the landing light and everything else.
Taxi. Hold short.
See some lightning going off there. cat,
1-1.
good speed,
Resume
good
navigation.
engines, and positive rate gear up. So as soon as we take off, we're going to request ATC vectors.
Hornet 1-1. Climb to 4,000. Maintain 270 knots. Turn right heading 270.
Right, 270, 270
Hornet
knots,
1-1.
4,000.
Maintain 250 knots. Turn right heading 330. Vectors to right base.
Right to 330, Hornet 1-1. Alright, so you can see we're above the clouds. This is what I was talking about in CQ3, what the weather should have been.
Hornet 1-3. You're cleared for takeoff.
So 320. And up to 4,000 feet.
Hornet 1-2. Resume navigation.
Like I said, you can't use night vision. You know,
Hornet
whatever your
1-1.
preference
Turn right
is.
heading 335. Hornet
Right, it's
1-3.
335.
Resume navigation. Resume right heading 340.
Down to 3,000, rate to 340, Hornet 1-1. So I'll try to show you this approach in its entirety, so you can see what it looks like. Again, we're gear up, hook up on this. Just 3,000. Beautiful stars up here.
Hornet 1-1. Descend to 2,000. Maintain 230 knots. Turn right heading 090. Vectors to final.
Right to 090 down to 2,000. He's just going to walk you down from 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, and give you different headings. I think he said 090. There's 2,000. And we'll level at 090. Check the tack hand real quick. You can see it's right at 8 miles. And that's again 28 X-ray, and you want to be in tack hand mode down here.
Hornet 1-1. Turn right heading 095.
Right to 095.11. So you can kind of keep
Hornet 1-1. Turn right final approach course 170. Check speed.
right to 170.11. So 170 is going to typically be your final approach course. And again, get the hook down and the gear down when you get that final approach call. Gear is coming down at 250, and I'm looking at 170. Alright, so you can keep track of your mileage with the tack end. I know we're 7 miles away. Overshot the heading just a little bit. There's 170. And I'm going to keep coming down. You know, you can really do 1,000 feet per minute here and be perfectly fine. At 3 miles, you definitely want to be down at 600 feet or so. And of course, you can't see anything. You're just kind of judging that glide slope. There's 5 miles. Yeah, so you might have to do a little bit more. You might have to do 1,000 feet per minute, which is right here. And just get down to 600. And there's the carrier. Broke through the clouds there. And now that I'm visual on the carrier, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and judge my height off of it. And I'll trim it out to get that on speed. There's 4 miles. Like I said, typically this is an ILS approach all the way down to the last mile or so, and then you go visual, and you go visual on the ball. And I think actually they might fly the ILS all the way down to the deck practically. Yeah, I think actually they do fly it all the way down to the deck. So we'll keep flying the heading here.
Good
At
evening.
3
Hornet
miles.
1-1. Clear for landing. Check gear down.
1 and 3 down in green. And hooks down as well. And I know I'm a little bit low here. There's 2 miles. I'm at state 6.9. So don't be afraid to climb if you have to, but don't do anything, too abrupt. Don't go into afterburner or anything like that. And there's 2 miles still. There's 1 mile. 401, Hornet ball, 6.9. And again, there is some turbulence, so you might get a lot of turbulence on final. And keep shooting towards the right. There is some wind here in this scenario. Just keep going right. Try to get that center line. And what you'll do is a gentle left turn right when you approach over the ramp. So here's my left turn. Keep coming down and full power as you come over the ramp.
Hornet 1-2, inbound for landing.
Hornet 1-3, inbound for landing. Hornet 1-4, inbound for landing.
Get the hook up.
Hornet 1-2, climb to 4,000, maintain 250 knots, turn left heading 015, vectors to left base.
401 taxing Cat 1. And nose with steering is back on. So you'll basically come over here, and you'll do the whole thing all over again. Alright guys, so that's CQ 1 through 4. That's how we'll be doing it. You need to get 3 successful traps out of 5 in order to qualify. And shouldn't be too difficult if you practice these on your own. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time.